Hello, this time we're going to make puff pastry. We need two kind of doughs for making the puff pastry. The first one is going to be a lean dough, and it's going to be just about water, flour, butter and some salt. And the second part is the butter dough, and we are going to use just butter. For the butter dough, we are going to use slices of butter, and we are going to put them over some plastic like this, trying to make a rectangle. I am going to cover them with the plastic. And with a rolling pin, I am going to give it a flat shape, trying to unite all the parts to make an even rectangle. If it is too cold, you can give a little bit of heat to it with the rolling pin, but if it's at room temperature, you can just roll the rolling pin. I need it to be together in just one piece. This is a kind of margarine that is used for making puff pastry. But if you are using regular butter, you have to mix it with a small quantity of flour inside a mixer, and then stretch it like this. Make sure it is completely covered with the plastic, and with your hands you can give it the shape. Now that it is even, I am going to let it in the fridge for about 1 hour. Now I'm going to make the lean dough. It consists in flour, a little amount of butter, water, and some salt. Using my strict method, I am going to pour all the butter, all the flour into the table. Add the salt, the water, and begin to mix. Because this kind of dough doesn't include yeast, it is not important the place to add the salt. And also I'm going to add the small amount of flour, butter. It is considered a lean dough because it doesn't have a lot of ingredients and because the quantity of butter that it uses is very small. Now that all the ingredients are mixed, I am going to let it rest for about 30 minutes. In this kind of dough, it is not necessary to knead because with all the foldings that we are going to be giving with the butter, the kneading is going to be ending. So it's just to mix all the ingredients. It doesn't matter if they are not united, just so you can see that there is no flour or no water or no butter because we are going to let it rest. We need it to be a little bit relaxed because this at the moment it's a little bit stressed and we want it to be relaxed because we are going to stretch it a lot and then make the foldings with the butter. So let it rest for about 30 minutes. After a few minutes, it is time to make the foldings. With the rolling pin, I am going to stretch the lindo. It has to be 3 times bigger than the butter. I am going to place the butter in the middle of the dough. And I am going to fold it. use some flour and begin to stretch it very carefully by making these movements. In this stage, we are trying to melt the butter with the dough. Always stretch like this, not like this. Make sure it is not sticking to the table. And for the bottom, for the top, try to use a little bit of flour, not too much. Once it has the length of your table, you are going to switch it and then fold it again in 3 times, in 3 parts. Make sure you have no flour in this place. This is the first folding, so I'm going to mark it with my finger to remember it has just one folding. I am going to place it over a tray or something that is flat and cover it again with some plastic. And I'm going to let it rest inside the fridge for about 20 minutes. After the 20 minutes, I am going to give it another folding. After 20 minutes, it is time to give the second folding. Make sure the mark is heading to you. Try to stretch it, making smaller or shorter movements instead of making longer movements. And again, once the dough has the length of the table, you are going to turn it and make the folding. This is called a simple folding. Then I'm going to submerge 2 fingers because I have 2 foldings, and I will let it rest for 20 minutes again in the fridge. And finally, we are going to make the last fold. Remember that the marks need to be to your side. And this was the last folding. I am going to mark it again to remember that it is already finished. So I'm going to let it rest for about an hour inside the refrigerator uh, so I can use it. It is important to let it rest because remember that in this moment it is stress. So we need it to be relaxed in order to stretch it and to give the shapes.